Hi everyone, this is Margarita with City Gal Puppetry. I wanted to bring you another Christmas video, and today we will be featuring these mixed media cards that I created a little while ago. I was just playing with some materials, and you can see they're dimensional. I used some stencils, and the background is jelly print, and I used some other stencils for the black circles and some spritzes and things like that. And I wasn't sure what to do with these, but I brought them in today because I wanted to create some non-traditional Christmas cards. I truly believe that Christmas doesn't always have to be red and green and gold and silver. And I wanted to show a different way of creating some Christmas cards using these mixed media cards. I'm going to be using these Lynn Perella collection stamps by Paper Artsy. This is a company based in the UK. Now, these specific stamps are no longer available. They are from quite a while ago, but I recently checked their website and they do have some more current Christmas whimsical stamps that are also quite beautiful. This isn't a sponsored video, but I did want to let you guys know that if you did want to do some sort of non-traditional type cards and wanted to use some stamps like this, they do have some available right now. Now I bring in my trimmer and I am going to be trimming these cards down just a little bit. I'm using an A2 size card base, which is 4¼ by 5½. But my little card mats, the dimensional card mats here, are not quite the right size that I want. They are 3 by 5. So I trim them down 1/2 inch so that they are 3 by 4½. And this way they are centered a little bit better on my A2 card. Then I bring in a Sharpie and I go along the edges of all of my panels. I'm not looking for perfection. These are clearly whimsical, grungy almost type of panels. So I'm really just trying to get a frame around the edge of my little card panel there. And repeat this process with all of the panels before moving on to the next step. Now I grab this DCWV pad that has mapped text and ledger paper, and I want to use some of this text paper for a background, and then I use some of the ledger paper a little later to stamp on. I trim these down to 4 inches by 5¼ and this way I have a nice background to put my card panel on, but I still leave a border of the craft paper behind my mat so you can still see the brown in the background. I bring in my Xyron tape gun and I just adhere all of these onto my card bases. And then I grab my stamps and some black onyx VersaFine ink, and I ink up my stamps, and I stamp all of my images onto the ledger paper. I like to do 2 stamps of the same image because I am usually coloring them in, and in case I make a mistake, I still have an extra image that I can go right to and use instead of having to go find my stamps and do it all over again. Also, if I don't get a great impression the first time, then I will try again for the second time. Once I stamp my images, I clean the rubber stamp. These are rubber Klingon stamps. I clean them up with a baby wipe and put them back in their package. Here you can see all of my stamped images all completed, and then I grab some Distress Oxide inks, Picked Raspberry and Salty Ocean, and I also have a blender. It's a Tim Holtz brand blender, and I very gently brush on some ink across my image. I don't want to saturate my paper. These colors are very pigmented. The colors can become very, very bright depending on how much ink you use. And I really just want a shadow of the color. So I'm brushing it on very, very lightly with my blender. And I'm not covering the entire image. I only want a portion in blue and a portion in the pink. And this is because I tried to match some of the colors that are on the actual panels. I repeat that process with all of my images. I start blending from the outside of the image because that first touch on paper is going to be the most concentrated. And so this way I can remove a little bit of the ink before I start to sweep over the actual image. And I try to keep it very light. I did the blue on all of the images, and then I went back and did the same thing with all of the pink. Now I am going to fussy cut my images out, leaving a small border around the image. This paper is not that thick. It's not like cardstock. It's more like just heavy paper, but it's not heavyweight cardstock. So I considered gluing the actual like fussy cut image onto cardstock just to give it some more weight, but then I left it as it is. It's fine as it is. Now I grabbed these Recollections glitter snowflake paper. These are from a collection a couple of years back, and you can see they have an embossed image of snowflakes all over the silver glitter paper. I love this paper because the glitter does not come off at all. And then I am going to die cut these scallop circles. I am pretty sure this scallop die is from AliExpress, but I am not sure. I'll try to link that to the bottom if I find it. And you can see here my die cuts are all completed, and I want to kind of break up the image, the stamped image from the panel in the background because they do have very similar colors. I felt like it didn't break enough, like it didn't break the image enough away from the background, and I wanted to create a little bit more contrast. So I bring in this lightweight craft paper and I start to punch out the snowflake strips from this Martha Stewart snowflake punch. I always try to do my initial punch with the punch itself upside down so I can see where my first punch is going. Sometimes I do the whole thing that way, but this is a pretty heavy punch and it's hard to hold it with one hand upside down, so I do flip it over. And if you line up your snowflakes with the image on the punch, you're going to continue that strip without breaking it. And these are great for making strips for borders and things like that. Now I make a few of these snowflake strips because I want to put one on each of my cards. And this is going to add not only some detail, but a little bit more of a Christmas theme look to them without still staying away from like the traditional colors. Then I grabbed some vellum. This is Coordination's premium cardstock vellum. And I think this is from Michael's, I want to say. But again, I will try to include all the links below of where I got each of these supplies. And I trimmed these down to 1-inch strips so that I can layer them with the actual snowflake strips. So the snowflake strip is going to go over the vellum strip. So this is about what I want my card layout to look like. And now I'm just kind of figuring out where exactly I want to put the vellum strip with the snowflakes. Once I decide on the location of it, I start to tape all of my pieces together. I'm using double-sided tape, and I adhere my cutout image to the die cut, to the scalloped circle die cut, and then I tape the entire piece to the card base. Now I've already taped the panel to the card base. So you see it there, it's already taped on, and now I'm just adding the other elements to the top. Now I am taking double-sided tape and I'm putting it on the end of the vellum strip. And now, things show through the vellum, so you always want to kind of adhere it in a way that you're not going to see the adhesive that you're using. So here you see I put the double-sided tape on the end and then I tuck it under the actual background panel. Once that's adhered, I add some glossy glue. This is Diamond Glaze by Judikins. This glue is really, really old. It's supposed to be kind of like glossy accents, but because it's so old, it doesn't work as glossy accents anymore. It is cloudy. So I use it as regular glue because it's actually a really good adhesive. It can glue pretty much anything. So I go ahead and glue that over the vellum strip, and then I trim it at the bottom where there's excess. And now I am grabbing a silver Sharpie. This is a super inexpensive Sharpie that I got from a 99-cent store. It works probably not as good as a regular Sharpie, but it does the job. And then I just add some silver details to my stamped image. And then I also take a white Jelly Roll pen and I highlight some of the parts of the image that I feel should stand out just a little bit, like the eyes and some of the details on the clothing and accessories that the girl has in the image. And then I take the wording that I stamped and I draw a silver frame all around. It says Winter Wonderland. And then I adhere that onto the top as my sentiment with foam tape. And that's pretty much it. I repeat this process with all of the cards. I do end up adding some twine towards the end, which I will go into a little bit later. Here I'm just highlighting the word winter. I'm removing some of the lines from the ledger paper that I stamped it onto with the white Jelly Roll pen. And you can't really see it on camera, but it really does help that word pop out even more. Here are 5 of the completed cards. I added the vellum and snowflake punch out horizontally on some of them and vertically on the others. And I only completed 5 here. The others, I think I might be doing something different with them. But I did add a few details. So I added some twine. And I did add it after, so I had to feed it through a little hole on the inside of the card. It's not that noticeable. I mean, obviously it's noticeable, but it's not, like, it doesn't ruin the card in any way. I think it just adds a little more detail to the inside. And so, yeah, I added this little twine, and then I also took a white Jelly Roll pen and I just kind of added some details to the stamped image. So I highlighted some of these parts around her head, and then same with the whites of the eyes and the little stars in between the Christmas trees, and also some of the like white marks that were at the bottom. So I did that for all of them. So here's the same thing. I did like the whites of the eyes and some of the whites in the circle and the details. I also added some silver, some metallic silver on this one with a Sharpie, and you can't really see it, but that's okay. I also highlighted a little bit the tops of the lettering for winter with the white Jelly Roll pen, and so that's my sentiment there. And then here you can see again the twine going around on the outside of the snowflake punch out there. And I really like the way these turned out, actually. I was not sure because I came in without a real plan and I had to kind of play around with them a lot to figure that out, but I like the way that they turned out. So here you see I also used some white on her cheeks, her eyes, and then some of the detailing that is around the snowflakes and things like that. All right, and then same with the sentiment here and here. This one I kind of just let the sentiment be what was on this image from the stamp, so it just says believe. And then this one I left it without a sentiment, and I think it already looks Christmassy, you know, with the little Christmas trees and the snowflakes, so I'm gonna leave that one just like that. And yeah, so I really like the way these turned out. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you ideas to use your to make cards in a different way. It doesn't always have to be the same colors and the same themes. You know, Christmas can be quite different for different people, and so I really like that this gives a sort of different take on Christmas cards. If you don't have, well, I don't expect that most people will have these stamps, but if you wanted to recreate something similar and you have something like vintagey type stamps, that should work. Or if you have old wooden stamps, that should work as well. But if you have like vintagey type stamps like these used to be wooden stamps, and they would wood mounted, and then I took them off of the mount. I'll leave a link on how I did that if anyone's interested. But you know, something like this could easily be used for something like that, you know, and then just adding some snow details or even like a snowy background could make it a Christmas card. Same like this, you know, these things are sort of ambiguous as to what they are for. And yeah, I mean, it's really up to you what you want to create with your supplies. It doesn't have to be cookie cutter themed items all the time. Even something like this, like, who said this can't be a Christmas tree? You know, you can stamp this upside down. You can put a different sentiment over this on a little piece of foam tape, you know, a strip of some other wording, and then, you know, kind of cover the bottom with a snowbank or something, put a little star at the top, and, you know, you got yourself a Christmas tree that you just made from a heart stamp, you know. So it's really about thinking of things in different ways, or using what you have in new ways. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some ideas. I hope it was inspirational to you. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. I will do my best to answer whatever questions you have. If you have any ideas similar to this for other projects, please let me know. I'm always interested in hearing from you guys. And I'm so happy that you are all here. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe or hit the bell so you can get notifications on when I upload new videos. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye.